Hi everybody, I'm Dale Fredericks. I wanted to talk to you today a little bit about how I teach a horse to neck rein. And first we'll talk about the conventional way. Most all the world teaches a colt to rein primarily with a direct rein. By that I mean the inside rein. And they'll tip the horse's nose into the direction they want to go and then take it from there. Then once the horse is pretty far along, they'll start switching over to neck reining. I'm a little bit different. I like to start neck reining right from the start. Now, like the first couple rides, I'll do some direct reining with a hackamore, just because that's what the colt is used to. He's been led around on the ground with a halter and stuff, you know, with a halter lead rope. But I start switching over to the neck rein as soon as I can. And I don't strictly use a neck rein. I mean, I initiate my turns with a neck rein. Then I'll follow up with a direct rein. For instance, let's say I'm going along here and I want to go to the right. I'll lay my left rein on the neck, and then I'll get my inside rein if I need to carry through with that turn. And one thing that I used to hear when I was young was that if you get a horse's nose or his head go in one direction, the rest of them is going to follow. But I think most of you that have ridden a lot of colts know that's not true. You can have their head clear around your knee and your colt can be going sideways, you know. So I was reminded of that since I started him in the arena here. I didn't have a round pen. And like I said, the first few rides I was direct reining him. And you know, if there's a horse magnet over here, like well, with him being a stud, if there's a mare over here or whatever, something that they want to go to, they'll start drifting over. And that's the reason too why you need to start getting leg on your colts, and we'll talk about that later too. But like I said, the first few rides I'll be using a little bit of, primarily direct rein. But then as soon as I can, I'll start using my neck rein and then follow it up with a direct rein. And at first the horse might be a little confused. You know, when you pick up on that outside rein, neck rein, they're very green yet, so they don't know whether to stop or what to do. So you just got to keep your forward motion, your impulsion going, and work through those sticky spots. Teach them how to, you know, go ahead and turn at the same time. Like I said before, the reasons why I do this, the reasons why I start with the neck rein, I want to get my horses, I want to teach them in the sequence that they're going to end up being in. In other words, when this horse is more advanced in the bridle, I'm not going to take the direct rein first and prepare him for the turn and then turn him. I'm gonna just neck rein him. Actually, for those of you that have watched some more of our videos, you'll probably remember that I like to give a body cue first. So I have one cue even before the neck rein itself. I'll just kind of think where I want to go, and I'm not talking about any hocus pocus stuff. I'm just talking about my body position. Like if I'm going along here and I want to go to the left, I'll just kind of think about where I want to go and look toward it. And I change my position slightly. I always have my inside foot a little bit ahead and my outside foot a little bit back, just like the horse is going to do. And I don't lean in or out, but I just change my position. And they can feel that. So my goal is that I can someday ride this horse just off my body position. So I'll give him that as a first cue. Like right now I'm thinking to the left. Whenever he wants to get out of it, I'm going to take my outside rein, and I can use these. I have the hackamore and the snaffle bit on them, so I can use both reins together, or I can use them independently. A lot of times, what I'll do is I'll kind of bump them with a hackamore rein a little bit, just bump them off of it, and I can do that with both reins in my hand just by relaxing my grip on my snaffle rein. Or I can do it in more of a pulling fashion with just my snaffle or both reins together. I can just kind of bring them over. And that way you can you know, you can use a little longer pull. Ordinarily in a Hackamore you wouldn't want to do that, but since we got the snaffle bit with it, we can use a little longer pull. And you see, I start with a neck rein, and then right behind it, I'll use my inside rein if I have to. Because I do want to keep his nose kind of to the inside here. Okay. And I'll just give them, you know, the further advanced they get, I'll give them more of a chance. I'll lay my rein, and without using my inside rein. And throughout this process too, I'll use my dressage whip, or my feet, my spurs, whatever, to reinforce it. But I'm always going to give them that chance. And I'm going to have my body position here first, then my rein, and then back to neutral, rein, back to neutral, rein. And you see, I am using my inside rein here, but I always start with my outside rein, my neck rein first, and then follow up. Another reason I like to do this way, because I like to think about moving the shoulder. I don't like to think so much about pulling the horse around. Although, I mean, you're going to have to do some of that throughout your training, no matter how you train, but I like my emphasis to be on the shoulder. I want to kind of chase the shoulder. I think you can push a horse a lot better than you can pull him. So, again, we're going to use the direct rein, but our emphasis is going to be on the neck rein. And that's whether I have a slack rein or I've taken the slack out of my rein. One thing I was going to say too, when you on a green colt, a lot of times, let's say you're loping and your colt doesn't want to rein. Started in the wrong lead, so I'm going to start over. Let's say my colt doesn't want to rein. What I'll do is I'll slow him down, and then I'll rein him in, and then I'll try again. Okay? So, you know, when everything is new to them, the speed makes things more difficult. So you might have to slow down at times to get your point across, and you might have to overemphasize it. You know, turn them more than you really want to, just to emphasize it to them. And at times, there's times you have to get harsher. We like to, it's just human nature to make everything look nice in these videos, and we don't like to talk about ever having to get rougher, but I think sometimes it's better to give a strong cue and then back off rather than peck, 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 peck. Keep pecking. You can keep pecking for 3 years, and if you're not getting your point across, you know, you might have to go to harsher resorts. Like, oh, I'm not afraid to whack him on the shoulder if he's just blowing me off time after time, or use my feet or my spurs either. And again, we want to do as little of that as we can, but I think it's just reality. They're not just going to say, "Hey Dale, I like your smile. I'm going to do whatever you want, whenever you want it." Sometimes you're going to have to, you know, you're going to have a little contest of wills. And it's amazing what these horses will do for you, but you know, they're willing to accept the pecking order, but they're going to challenge it along the ways too, a lot of them. So one more thing that really helps your neck reining, in my opinion, just get control of their body, the rest of their body, because we're controlling mainly the front end with our neck rein, but you can bring the front end over with your neck rein, and you can still have the hindquarters swinging out, trying to be with these horses down here, or like we said before, you know, the whole horse trying to crab over there. So get your horse where you can move them off your leg, you know, whether it's a leg yield, side pass, move their hindquarters over, or we've already talked about moving the shoulders over. The better you get all that stuff on your horse, the better they're going to neck rein. And like this colt, he got a little bit of that before I even got on him. I always start my colts, I give them groundwork, and if you go back to some of our very first videos, you'll see that how we we started on the ground and we just carry it up to the saddle. I think one more thing I want to say about neck reining: get your horse where he'll go straight. You know, again, me with my body, if I'm going straight, looking straight ahead with no pressure anywhere, I want him to go straight ahead. And whenever he deviates from it, I'll correct him. But when you put a rein on him, that should mean something. You see how he's going pretty straight right there. He's actually anticipating me wanting him to stop. But get your horse where you can go in a straight line somewhere. And if they, like I said, if they deviate, straighten up whatever part of the body needs fixing, whether it's the front end, the whole horse, or you know, if they're swinging their hindquarters out, whatever. And then go back to neutral. That's their reward. That's when they know they're doing right. So, I don't think I've forgotten anything I was going to say. Thanks everybody for watching. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. Goodbye.